Hello, beautiful people. I'm DJ, and welcome back to my channel, DJ Cooks and Books. It has been a while since I have had a chat with you guys, but life has gotten in the way. I had so many interesting experiences that I want to talk about, but I sadly do not have time to make videos these days. But I have decided to make a video about some books from the long list of the International Booker 2024 that I am going to be reading. The first book that caught my eye was called Crooked Plow, because it kind of reminded me of Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk, and it's one of my favorite books. And the plow is actually what made me interested in it. And then I read the synopsis. It has some kind of magical realism aspects, and I'm really curious about it. It's set in Brazil, and it's set in a region called Bahia. And I really love this song called Baiana. I think the word Baiana means a lady from that Bahia region. I don't know. It's all just like randomly related to each other, but that has made me want to read that book. I will get to the synopsis of the books when I actually read them. But the next one that I noticed was Not a River by Selva Almada. It's originally written in Spanish. It's set in rural Argentina, and it's the third book in a loosely connected trilogy of books. I directly read it. The third one I haven't read. The first two ones, which one of them is called Brickmakers, and the other one I forgot the name. But the trilogy is about toxic masculinity, and Selva Almada is known for her feminist works, and I was really intrigued why she is like foraying into telling the story of these men, like instead of like, I don't know, like my image in my head was like feminism equals women protagonists. But in this book, the main protagonists are three men, and they are fishing on an island, some riverfront on an island. They catch a big fish, and the locals on the island don't really like their presence there. And then things start going down, and it's amazingly written. I really appreciated the dark environment that Selva Almada has created. And apparently the language is really colloquial, and Selva Almada uses language from the region that she grew up in rural Argentina. And I forgot the name of the place that she grew up in, but she has a lot of those slang words in it. And the translator, Annie McDermott, had written a really cool note at the end of the novella. The novella is quite short. I think it is like under 100 pages, and that's why I chose to read that one first. Although I did have my eye on a few other ones I will tell you about in a bit. But I really enjoyed the writing. This is my first time reading Selva Almada, and I'm probably going to read another one when I get a chance from her. And this book is about these three men and toxic masculinity in the men's world. Like, it's a world where vulnerability is frowned upon. Women are looked at as objects. It's almost like a caricature. Like, each person is a caricature of a typical toxic man. They are just being playboys and not getting tied down to a woman. And one of them does actually enter into a relationship with a woman, and what repercussions that does have on the other two is quite interesting. They never express what they are feeling to each other. They go through quite large twists and turns, large amount of twists and turns throughout their lives, and like a tragedy befalls them, and lots of stuff happens, but they never really express themselves. But apparently, if something happens to one of them, the other two are going to be profoundly affected by that, impacted by that. and how we learn through the story, it's quite magical, mystical, because the sea creatures, not sea creatures, the river creatures and the woods, they are quite like a big presence. The woods that are behind the river, like behind the river bank on which they are camping and fishing, the woods have a life of their own, and it's quite mysterious. I really love the way Selva Almada has made the woods sound amazing, amazing. I mean, the book cover is amazing. The name itself is quite intriguing. I think Selva means woods, or like a forest in Spanish. I'm not sure. I would really like to try to read it in its original language, Spanish, but I don't have that high level of a Spanish language, but never know. The next book that I want to talk to you about is called What I'd Rather Not Think About by Jente Postuma. It's originally written in the Dutch language, and it has been translated by, I want to check who the translation is by. I'm sorry, I will write the name somewhere here. But it is translated from the Dutch, and it's about a person whose twin brother has taken his own life, and she is reminiscing through their childhood and how their relationship always was. Sometimes there was a little bit of a strain on their relationship, how it evolved and it changed when they grew up, and how she has always been trying to follow her twin brother, and he has been the dominant one in the relationship, and she's always wanted to be with him, live life together, but even if they end up with other people, she wants to be with her brother. And at a young age, I think quite a young age, they both realize that both of them are attracted to boys. The brother is gay, and he's definitely like quite sad since a very young age, and maybe his queer identity had something to do with it, or maybe he's just like been struggling with his mental health for a while. And he does have his happy moments, and they do have some nice euphoric happy moments together, the brother and sister. But the sister is remembering quite painful moments as well, where he's kind of rejecting her. He wants to put some distance between them. And I'm just 36% into the book. I haven't completed it yet, but it's quite interesting to me because I also have a twin brother, and we have been living in different countries for almost last 15 years. So we are no longer as close as we were during our school time. So just like these people, they were really close when they went to school, and once they graduated, they started living on their own, but they were still kind of close. But again, life happens and they drift apart, and I'm really interested to know what conclusion this person comes to once she comes to terms with the loss she has suffered of her brother. And I can relate to a lot of things that she's saying because I've experienced them myself. Like, I don't know how to psychoanalyze myself, why I'm relating to this person's story, but I do feel that sense where I'm being left behind by my brother. When I was little, I used to feel that quite a lot. She tells one experience that she has, which is she is always the one who is following her brother, even if they are just taking a walk and she wants to take a different route and he wants to take a different route. She just has to follow him eventually because he just ignores her. Even if she tries to take a different route, he just goes his own way wherever he wants to go, and eventually he knows that she will follow him, and that's what happens most of the time. And that's something that I have experienced a little bit, and that was quite hit close to home. And I'm really interested what happens next. Let's see. And the next book that I want to talk about is another one that I am interested in, and that's called Lost on Me by Veronica Raimo, and it is originally written in Italian, and Vero has grown up in Rome with her eccentric family, an omnipresent mother who is devoted to her own anxiety, a father ruled by hygiene and architectural obsessions, and a precocious genius brother at the center of their attention. As she becomes an adult, Vero's need to strike out on her own leads her to bizarre and comical situations. She tries and fails to run away to Paris. At the age of 15, she moves into an unwitting older boyfriend's house after they have been together for less than a week, and she sets up a fraudulent and wildly successful street clothing stall to raise funds to go to Mexico. Most of all, she falls in love repeatedly, dramatically, and often with the most unlikely and inappropriate of candidates. Interesting. This I picked because it is the only one on the long list which promises some humor, some lighter moments, which I really do need after the other books that I want to read. The other ones that I'm interested are The Details, which was probably originally written in Swedish. I think it is a sapphic relationship. It features sapphic relationship and a book within a book, and it had some tagline which describe it as, in a portrait, who is the protagonist, the one who is being painted, or the one who is holding the brush? And that was quite intriguing, so I want to read that one. And I also want to read Undiscovered by Gabriela Wiener, which is more like an autofiction where this woman who is Peruvian, but her ancestors are half Austrian or German, and one of her great grandfathers has stolen a bunch of Peruvian artifacts, native indigenous artifacts, and stolen them and moved them to museums in Europe, like maybe in Berlin and in Paris. Charles Wiener is that person's name, I think, the great grandfather. And she's struggling with that because she strongly identifies as Peruvian, and this great father of hers is a vaquero, or a bandit, like she describes him, and she kind of struggles with that identity and the effects of colonialism that have kind of made her family twisted. And that was interesting. I have started that one, and I'm probably like 15% into it. I have a really bizarre style of reading where I just like dabble in a little bit into books, and then do not know if I will ever complete them. But I do want to complete all of these books, and The Crooked Plow, and what else I'm going to read out of those. I think these are the ones that I'm going to read, and I will get back to you with updates whenever I have them. Until then, this was the first part of the journey that I'm taking with International Booker long list. And let me know which ones are you reading, which ones do you think are worth reading, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, take care. Please subscribe if you want to. Please leave me a comment, say hello. I'll talk to you later. Bye.